Hi, and welcome to Untethered with Jen Liss, the podcast that's here to help you break free, be you, and unleash your inner brilliance so you can claim the life you're meant to live. I'm your host, Jen, and in this episode, we're going to talk about saying yes to the spot on your journey that you are at right now. Hey there, friend. It's Jen. Welcome back to the podcast for this Thursday Thread episode. I've had an amazing week so far. How is yours going? It's Thursday. It's Thursday. Almost the weekend. I have this kind of like weird love-hate relationship with celebrating the weekend because I'm like, why do we celebrate the weekend so hard? As somebody who I did hair for a lot of years, my weekend was never everybody else's weekend or the weekend that supposedly was everybody else's weekend. You look around in the world and there are plenty of people who are working on the weekend, but we have this idea about it. So it's so funny. Even when I was doing hair, I celebrated the weekend, even if I was working on Saturdays, because everyone was in this celebratory mood on Saturdays that was so different. Like the energy that people walked into the salon with on a Saturday was so different than the energy that they walked in on a Wednesday evening with. Oh, Wednesday evenings. Let me talk about people coming into the salon on a Wednesday evening. Wednesday evening, tired, usually late. They stayed at work a little bit too long and they didn't get there on time. And so they're stressed out. They're exhausted. I'm telling you. Wednesday energy. I guess they call it hump day for a reason. The hump day, slump day. It's just weird. I love to think about these things and, question it with just curiosity and not judging it, but just questioning things with curiosity. This is one of the things that I am so passionate about breathwork. I've been passionate about curiosity and how that influences your creativity. I've seen it in practice. I've worked very creative jobs, working with designers, working with other writers, with videographers, and the people who are most curious without judgment are the most creative. I've been convinced of this for a long time. And really, every single one of us is being called to our creativity, because your creativity is sprinkling your magical gifts on the world in only the way that you can. We often think of creativity as being, picking up a paintbrush or being able to create music, but you are indeed creating your unique music every day. So why not allow ourselves to dip even deeper into that creative well that is you, your own personal creative well, and to do that with more curiosity, because that invites more openness to new ideas and into your unique creativity. We each have our own unique blend of creative magic. And your blend was created not just because of the person who you came into this planet as, what you showed up with on the very day that you were born. You have an essence that is your own. Because even as you spent time inside your mama's womb, you were learning things. And you also have all of the genes that were being activated, built, created, that are you. But then you've had all of your experiences along the way and your place as an only child, or a child who's in the middle, or the second child, or the only daughter, or one of 5 daughters, whatever that situation is for you, and every little experience that you had. That first day of kindergarten that you had that influenced the way that you felt about kindergarten henceforward. That kindergarten teacher that was so kind and so sweet and so gentle and showed you the way to be creative in a kind and sweet and gentle way. Or that teacher that was particularly harsh and might have made you fear your creativity. All of those things, those events that you have had, influence the creative magic that you are showing up with, influence the skills and talents, the gifts that you developed along the way. And sometimes the hardest things that we have faced are some of our greatest gifts. So what I want to thread out of Tuesday's breathwork Q&A episode is your unique journey, my unique journey. How did I end up? Here's one of the top questions that I am asked regularly by generally someone who themselves is trying to figure out, where am I at on my journey? What is my next step on my journey? Often people who are thinking about, do I want to stay in the job that I'm in? Do I want to create a business? Or I've tried creating a business and things are not going well for me, or I'm thinking about a shift. I'm thinking about a pivot. Going well for you, by the way, is so subjective, or not going well. These are the questions that I get from people. They'll say, how did you end up doing what you're doing? And we look around at other people and we wonder, how did they end up where they are? And so hearing somebody else's journey sometimes can help us to reflect on our own. It's through other stories, through others' experiences, that we can often see our own so much more clearly. So I wanted to share today a little bit about my own journey, what I have often referred to as a creative commute, because you are building and traveling with and continuing to grow and gain new gifts along the way, along your path. Since the day you were born until today, every day you are gaining new gifts, you're gaining new talents, you're gaining new skills, new perspectives, new little bits of curiosity that are bringing you new realizations, new things that you have wondered about, new things that you continue to be curious about. And we so often don't see how key the now and all of the things that you've gained along the way are. So I would have never thought, I would have genuinely, if I had written the script for myself and my path and my journey, that today on the 29th day of August, 2023, yes, I'm recording this episode the day before it's published, very much real time on this podcast most of the time, because I like it that way. I would have never envisioned that this is where I would be. And I also said the same thing when I became a copywriter and I was working in corporate. And I said the same thing a few years later when I was working in employee experience. And I said the same thing even when I went back to school, because it could have been my path that I stayed doing hair forever, for my whole life. And that would have been okay, right? But my journey has taken me to other places. And the one thing that I just want to impart on people so deeply, so deeply, and it's what I teach in my program, is mind-body connection. Your intuition is speaking to you. It is speaking through you. Your intuition speaks to you in its own language. I believe we all have a different language that our intuition speaks to us in. And this is partially because of doing breath work and seeing how many different ways our bodies are communicating to us. Sometimes some people speaks to you in color. Some it's very strong physical sensations, very strong emotions. Some people it's textures. Some people it's actual visuals. Some people it's words, phrases, full-blown stories. It is wild. Everyone, your creativity is speaking to you in different ways. But one of the most powerful things that we need to do is to connect back to our physical essence, to our physical presence, to the now. This is what breathwork, I'm threading this out from Tuesday's episode. This is what breathwork, this is what meditation, this is what yoga, this is what prayer, all of these practices help you to become present with yourself in the now. And it's key. Becoming present with yourself. And a portal to presence is the actual physical sensations in your body, which is why I'm so passionate about breathwork, because it helps you to notice, to be aware of, to be curious about, to witness the sensations in your body. And once you do, you realize that your intuition is speaking to you. There are things being spoken to you through those physical sensations. And as you start to unravel them, you realize some of those things that you're feeling are things that you have spoken to yourself through your mind. And a lot of them are not very kind. And other things that are being communicated to you are happening through whatever, the ether, God, the universe, energy, whatever it is that you believe is speaking to you, it's coming to you through that way. And as we open up to that, oh my goodness, it is amazing. So going back to my journey, I had one of these moments. I was not connected to my body, by the way, at all whatsoever, had basically shut myself off from my body for a number of personal traumas that I had, both big T, little t things that had kept me from really connecting to my body. And my mind was protecting me by not allowing me to feel some physical sensations in my body. However, I had a moment where my intuition spoke to me and there was just no other path. I was going to stop doing hair. My intuition was like, absolutely, this is not what you're supposed to be doing anymore. It's time for something different. It's time for something new. And I felt that call so strong. For years I had thought maybe I'll go back and get my degree just to prove that I can, just to prove that I'm smart, just to show everybody, but that was never enough motivation. But when my intuition spoke through me, I felt it in my gut. I just knew. I didn't actually know that it was my gut. Let's be fair. I had no connection to my my physical body at all, but I just knew, and there was no other choice. And you might have had moments like this too, where you're like, I have no idea why I'm choosing this. I'm simply choosing this and I'm going to move forward. Another one of those moments was when I decided to leap back fully into entrepreneurship. A lot of things weren't fully making sense for me. I hadn't fully built my coaching practice to full capacity, but I just knew now is the time. This is the time, and I'm going to do it. And I did. And at the same time, I chose to come into a breathwork program, and I had no idea. I did not see breathwork as my path forward for my business. It took me a long time over the past year to fully understand this gift that I have, and also just how powerful it is and how much I love. It is a gift. It is something that I really enjoy, sprinkling the magic into the world with this gift of offering breathwork for people. I did not fully understand it. And yet I was saying yes. And we have these moments. So I want you to realize that these are happening for you when you feel that full body yes, and you can't fully explain why you're doing it. Those are the best times to leap. The best times to leap is when you don't fully quite get it. And you actually don't feel very afraid in those moments. If there's a lot of fear, there are some things that you can be perhaps untethering or finding safety somewhere, wherever that safety is to be found. And we can talk maybe separately about finding that safety in times of great fear, because often fear is pointing to something that you do want, but maybe there are some things to think about. There are ways to approach it in which you are actually creating safety for yourself. So sometimes that can be actually getting a full-time job or staying in your full-time job and finding ways to love that job again while you also explore what could be next for you, or using finding your fun as a way to explore what could be next to you. But there are these other times like breathwork, me leaving hair, me leaving my corporate job, where there really is no fear, because you know it's just the right choice. You know it's the right decision. So what is this for you? I recently asked my coaching cohort, like, what is one of those, like, the best decision that you made? And it was really intriguing, because some people said, I did not know fully why I was doing this. I just absolutely knew. And it turned out to be one of the best decisions of my life. So for some people, that could be, having the third child. Like, this doesn't make sense for us to have a third child. We already have a boy and a girl. So the world says that we should be happy. But for some reason, we are just being called to bring this other magical being into the world. And it turns out, for all of the reasons, you learn why that is. And we all have those moments. So what are those for you? Because really celebrating and reflecting on those moments can help you to have confidence when another one might come your way, because there are times when that moment might come and you might say no. And that's okay too. That's okay too. That ends up being your choice, and that ends up being part of your journey. But imagine if we said yes to every single one of those moments where the universe is like, I have aligned everything for you. Look at this custom designed package that I have put together for you. All you need to do is say yes and step through the door. And a lot of times we look at that custom designed package and we're like, no, I don't think so. Not today. Maybe next time. Maybe next time when everything really feels totally in my control. And that's, again, that's okay when we say no to something, because another yes is going to be along the way. And maybe for some reason you don't feel fully safe. You have a lot of fear around it. And that is part of your journey, is learning to work through that fear and then maybe saying yes the next time that it does come back around. But for me, breathwork was one of those. It just, everything lined up. And I realized as soon as I said yes to it, and as soon as I began on that journey, it was like, oh my gosh, this feels like this old shoe. I didn't know I was looking for this old, comfy shoe. And I'm just stepping into it and I'm doing it. And it's through those full body yeses that you get to experience that. And the more connected you can become with your mind, your body, your heart, your spirit, when you can connect them, when they're all speaking to each other, when you have awareness of the physical sensations in your body, when you might be tracing some of those physical sensations back to a thought or a belief, and you're able to then turn around and rewrite that belief, this becomes so powerful. Becomes so powerful. There's somebody who's coming on the podcast here in a couple of weeks. It's an interview that I did. You can look forward to, but he does neuro-linguistic programming. And one of the things he says, like, he has trained thousands of people. And he says it is allowing ourselves to feel the future in the present, to feel so present with the goodness of the future that really calls in the amazing things that we dream of, feeling it in the present, in the now. And breath work, meditative breath work, meditation, yoga, celebration, really giving yourself a moment to just breathe and be with the peace that is here, the goodness that is here. That is what helps us to build that practice that this individual is talking about, that he sees create such magical things in his own life and in other people's lives. And so when we can be saying those full body yeses without all of the fear and without all of the worry and without all of the, I don't know why I'm saying this. Well, you do know, because you know that it's aligned for you, that it's a full body yes. And even though you might not know what's on the other side of it, it's going to be magical. There's something magical there for you when you feel that alignment. And it's just like, I'm saying yes to this. My whole being is saying yes to this. You know it's going to be magical. So then you can let go of some of that fear and some of that worry. However, as I mentioned before, if it's like, it feels like a full body yes, but you have intense fear around it, there's things that might be hamstringing you if you did say yes, and it would be okay. So there's multiple paths. You can go ahead and you can say, okay, I'm going to quit my job. I recognize that there is a boatload of fear, and I recognize that that fear is going to keep trying to come and knock my feet out from underneath me. It's going to be constantly stepping on my shoes and giving me flat tires. And that's okay. I'm going to move forward anyway. You can choose that path, or you can say, there is a lot of fear here. I am going to choose to work with someone to help me work through some of these fears, to identify some of these patterns. I'm going to go ahead and stay in my job, knowing that something really great is here for me and that I'm going to get to say yes when the full body yes comes back around again. But currently, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to focus on finding my joy. I'm going to focus on learning my gifts and my talents and my skills. There's multiple paths that you can choose to take, and it's recognizing what feels really great to me. Where can I gain the safety? Am I going to gain the safety in continuously taking these leaps, knowing I'm going to face fear, finding the safety again? I highly suggest, if you're taking great leaps and looking for safety and doing it this way, that you do get support, whether that's the support of a therapist, the support of a really great group of say, entrepreneurial friends or the support of a coach or the support. I mean, just have support, because going that path alone, you're so likely to re-traumatize yourself and to end up just in a really scary space. It is possible, of course, to follow that path on your own and succeed. There are people who have proven to have done that, but it's going to be real hard. Look for community wherever you can find that community, wherever you can find that support. And you can also take the path of staying and find support that way too. What I don't recommend is feeling that nudge, knowing that that nudge is there and completely ignoring it and staying in your current hermit crab shell. Because this is a hermit crab moment when you feel that full body yes for something, and maybe you feel some fear, but you know that there's something here for you. There's something really great for you on the other side of it, and you choose to stay. You're going to get uncomfortable. You're going to get miserable, and you're probably going to make everybody else around you in your life miserable too by staying in that space. So if you feel one of those moments, say yes to yourself in one of two directions. Go full all in on it, or you can choose to go at a slower pace and what we call in breathwork, you learned on Tuesday, titrating. Take it in tiny sips. Always inviting safety and support from other people, from modalities, whatever it is that is going to support you along the way. Again, of course, I'm personally passionate about breathwork as one of those ways. The first time that I experienced breathwork, and it just cracked me wide open with these emotions that I had not previously allowed myself to feel. It was with my actual mentor, and she was delivering this breath session, and I was breathing into it, and she was just guiding me, and I felt so supported by her. And that is the key. I just felt so much support, and I felt so safe to let this emotional release happen. And I was forever changed. I was forever changed. And I did not, though, in that moment say, I'm also going to offer this service to people. I didn't. I just kept coming back to this modality that had me feeling so called to it. It was so healing to me. And now I offer that healing space to other people, which is funny because it really takes me back to doing hair. I'm holding space for someone to experience a transformation. I'm holding space for someone to do something that might be a little scary. Like if somebody is going from blonde hair to black hair, or black hair to blonde hair, or blonde hair to purple hair, or long hair to short hair, or extensions and investment in extensions, all of these things, those are scary transformations. It's a scary transition. And as a stylist, you get to hold space for that. Well, as a breath worker, I get to hold space for people to make potentially scary choices, to hold space for transformation, to allow that transformation to hold safety as they go through that experience. So it's interesting, right? Because we don't sometimes see the transferable skills that we have. And I still, even if I knew, oh, here's my transferable skills, I hold safety for people, I might not have seen this exact thing, but I just listened to the nudges. And this is where we follow that fun, we follow that flow, we follow the full body yeses that lead us to the most magical outcome. And who knows what's next, right? That's what's fun about the journey. Maybe that doesn't feel fun to you. Maybe you're like, I really would know. I prefer to have it plotted out. And that's okay too. The world takes all kinds of people, but a lot of the people who are called to this podcast, you're probably being called to follow the fun, to follow the magic, to follow the flow, and to let that create your journey, as opposed to that need to control and to plot it all out, right? So I hope there were some really awesome reflections for you in your own journey, and maybe some of those moments that you might have experienced along the way where it's like, was that a full body yes? Oh, was I actually a little bit scared? And so maybe I held back on that yes. Oh, maybe I could have leaned a little bit more into the fun. Okay, now reflect for yourself. How does that really sit with your life today? And how, when you feel that next full body yes, Can you ask yourself the question, do I want to go full in on this? Or where can I find some safety as I continue to explore my fun and as I continue to explore this yes for myself? And at the conclusion of this episode, let's take a moment to simply pause and be present. Getting comfortable wherever it is you are seated. If you are driving, you can do this with your eyes open. Otherwise, going ahead and taking a deep breath into your nose. And on that exhale, closing down your eyes. Continuing this nice deep inhale into the nose and out through the mouth for the next couple of minutes. Keeping your awareness on the breath. Noticing the cool sensation of the air as it moves into your nose. The warm sensation as it moves out through your mouth. Maybe inviting an audible sigh on some of those exhales if that feels good to you. Just inviting yourself to become fully present in the here and the now with your breath and with your body. And as you become present with your body, noticing, if you can, your awareness of your toes. And seeing, if you can, whether your feet are on the floor, whether you're sitting crisscross, applesauce, seeing how many of your toes you can feel. Going to each foot and feeling each toe if you can. It's okay to not do this perfectly, but just seeing as you continue to breathe with that deep inhale into the nose and out through the mouth, with curiosity and awareness of the body, how many of my toes can I feel? And noticing, even as you breathe, how you can feel sensations in your body, how you can draw that awareness down to the toes. Now releasing the attention on the toes and coming back simply to the breath. Drawing a couple more of these deep inhales into the nose and out through the mouth. Just allowing each of these final exhales to invite your body to relax into the space that it's in just a little bit more. Final breath, drawing a nice deep breath in and exhaling completely. Just thanking yourself for showing up to this practice today, for showing up and listening to this episode, giving yourself a moment of breath. I appreciate so much gratitude to you for showing up for yourself, because as you do so, as you become more present and more aware and offering yourself the gift of your presence, you shift the energy of the world into a more present and potent energy. I hope you enjoyed this Thursday thread where we pulled a little bit out about my breathwork journey and my full body yes journey and my journey back to my intuition. And I hope that you gained some really good things for yourself and some active reflections. If you enjoyed this episode, you can always take a little screenshot of it, share it on social media. If you tag me, I am Untethered Jen on Instagram. I will always reshare your posts. Thank you again so much for listening. You keep shining your magical unicorn light out there for all to see. I'll see you next time. Bye.